Hey everybody. So recently I was on an engagement that was a machine compromise. So the client gave us a Windows machine and we had to work off of there. And there was a point where I needed to extract files from that Windows machine onto my personal machine. And to do that, there's a couple of ways. If you have a C2 established on that machine, then you could transfer the files through that beacon. Another method that I like to use, which I did in this case, was transferring them over HTTPS. And one thing to always keep in mind whenever you're transferring files outside of a client's environment is that you need to do it safely. And that's where this one tool that one of my coworkers mentioned about, which is called Gosh. So this tool, Gosh, which is written by Patrick Henner, is really useful because with this one you can attach a domain name onto your HTTP server, which differentiates it from other HTTP servers like Updog, which is also really convenient because whenever you're on a Windows workstation in a real environment, sometimes going to an IP address is blocked, so you need to provide it an actual domain name, and it makes it look a little more realistic. So with this tool, you can change the ports, of course, like you do with Updog. But you can also provide some basic authentication to where you can provide a username and password. Overall, this one I really enjoyed because, again, I can attach an actual domain name to the server and it's really quick and easy to set up. It's written in Go, so all you basically have to do is just have Go install on your computer and then just download this tool. So I'm going to be using an AWS EC2 instance that's going to be an Ubuntu server. And once you have that running, just make an entry in your DNS that will attach your host name, which in my case would be myfilesshare.com, onto your IP address, which in my case would be this one right here. And once you have that, we can move over to your Ubuntu server and then start making the configurations. All right, so this is going to be my AWS EC2 Ubuntu server that's hosted externally, and then I'll have another machine that's separate that's going to be a Windows machine, and then we'll transfer the files over once I have it set up. But first, let's set up that Gosh server. And if you don't know your public IP address, you can just do a curl ifconfig.me, and then this would be your public IP address that you're going to make sure that you have attached in your DNS record. And since this one's a fresh Ubuntu machine, I'll just do a quick sudo update and sudo apt upgrade. And while that's running, I'm going to go look at the Go downloads, and that's going to be at go.dev/dl. And I'm going to be grabbing the Linux tarball. So it's going to be Linux AMD64. So just grab that link and then we'll head over to our Ubuntu server and download that file. So to download a file, we'll be using wget. So just wget provided by that link address that you copied. And if we do ls, you'll see that it's right there. And then now we'll just extract it using tar. So we'll do sudo tar c. It changes to the directory before doing the extraction to /user/local, and then extracting this tarball. And then after that, we'll manually put in the path in our profile. So just your favorite editor, mine's Vim. And then just go to the bottom of the file, and then we're just going to be doing export path, and then adding user local go bin, which is where we extracted that tarball. So this is just taking the variable of path and then appending this and making that the new path. And then to immediately make that active, do source and then call that profile file. And then now if we do go version, we can see that it calls Go and grabs the version as well. And now we're going to install Gosh using Go. So just go install and then pass it this, which is provided in the GitHub instructions. All right, and that takes a little while to run. And so that should be put into our directory, which is our home directory, and then go/bin. And now we see that Gosh is there. And if you were to add that into your path, just edit that profile file again, and then we're just going to append that location to that path, which is going to be /home/ubuntu/go/bin. Right, and quit that, and you could do source.profile to make those changes active. Now once you have that server running, it'll start hosting all the files that are in that current path unless you specifically point it to another directory. So if I were to run it right now, it'll start uploading all of these, which I don't want to do. So I'll just make a test directory and I'll change there. And if I were to run Gosh right now, it'll automatically by default go to port 8000. And since I don't have SSL as a flag, it'll go to HTTP. Now, if I want to change the port, I could do dash, or let me look at the help to show you how to change the port, which is going to be -p, and then you just provide the port. And we're going to use port 80, so it'll look like Gosh port 80. If you run it just like this with a normal user, you'll get access denied, so you have to run it as sudo. But once you run it as sudo, that path that you set isn't going to be the same as your Ubuntu path. So if I were to try sudo Gosh port 80, it'll say Gosh not found because Gosh isn't in the path of that sudo user. So just to get around this, I'll just put the full path of the Gosh application, which is going to be that home Ubuntu, and then P80, and we can see that now it's running. And now we could go look at my Windows server, which is external and not connected to this Ubuntu server at all, and we'll try accessing this Gosh server and see how it looks. Alright, so now we're on that machine, and we'll just go to the public IP address and port 80. So over here it'll have any of the files that's being hosted, and then over here is where we can upload the files. So right here I have a file that I want to transfer over, and you just drag it over, and then once it's ready to go, just press this little plus. Make sure to press the plus. At first I didn't know, and I thought this little bar was supposed to be loading up, and I was waiting for like an hour, but you press the little plus, and then it'll upload it, and then you can see the file right here because now it's on that server. And if this was a different file and I wanted to download it, you just press the little download button, and then it'll start downloading right there. And if we go back into our Ubuntu server, we see that there's been some activity. So we can look at the IP address that visited it. It requested the slash, it did the post upload, and then it did a get to that get file. So let's close this out, and then now let's attach a SSL cert to it. That way we can go to the domain name instead of going to an IP address. And make sure in your DNS that you already have it configured. So to do that, we can look at NSLookup, and we could just look at the domain name of the domain that you're going to attach to the IP address, and make sure that it's already configured. So if I'm going to go to the myfilesshare.com, or if I'm going to look it up in NSLookup, I can see that it's already there. If you don't get this in return, then that means that you don't have it set up, or you might just have to wait a little while for it to set. Sometimes it could take 15 or 30 minutes, but check this first before you request SSL certs, or else you'll get an error. So first we need to install certbot, and that uses sudo snap install classic certbot. That'll take a little while to run. Alright, so once we have certbot installed, we can look at the help, and the flags that we're going to be using is going to be this first one of cert only. So we're going to obtain a cert but not install it. Give it -d to provide the domain name, standalone, and then the agree to terms of service, and then the last one is going to be another flag that's going to allow it to register without providing an email address. Alright, so here we have the command, and we just change the -d to be your host name. So in my case would be www.myfilesshare.com, and you press enter, and it'll start obtaining the certs. Again, right here, if you receive an error, then it's probably because you don't have those DNS entries. It outputs where the files are saved to, the cert and the key, and for this you need to mark it down. It'll save it to the same location, but you'll write these down because we'll need to use them in our Gosh command. So if we look back at the help of Gosh, we're going to want to run it with SSL and then give it key and a certificate. So right here you can see -s to use TLS, and then after that you can either use a self-signed certificate, so you don't have to go through that process of using certbots. However, web browsers will flag this, and you might not be able to access it depending on the web filters that's installed on the client's environment. which is another reason why we went through this whole process and we're using this instead of updog. So we're going to be using these two flags to pass the key that we just obtained and then the certificate that we just obtained, and we'll be using port 443. So in the -p we'll be providing it 443. So the command will look pretty long because we're going to be providing all these paths, but it's not too complicated, and we'll take a look right now. Alright, so now we have everything ready to go, and this is what our command is going to look like. So we're going to call sudo because we're going to be changing the port to 443, and because of that we'll need to provide the full path of that gosh application. -p to the port, in this case is going to be 443. We're going to be using SSL, so -s-sk, and the path of the key, and then -sc for the path of the certificate. So once we have that running, we can kick it off, and then now we can go to our Windows machine and take a look. Alright, so now we can go to that HTTPS, and I can see on my Ubuntu host that I just got a request to it, and now we can see that we can access it using the domain, and it's going to be 443 along with HTTPS, so it's actually using real certs, and you don't have to connect to an IP address, and then uploading it again would be the same way as you did normally. Just drag it onto the file and then click the little plus sign, and that's how you can transfer files over externally over the internet safely using HTTPS and using a domain name as well. Alright, and the last thing I want to show you is setting up basic auth on that web server. So if somebody wants to visit that site, they need to provide a username and password in order to access that portal, which I think would be very helpful, especially considering that anybody can access this if they just go to that domain name, and they can access the files and they can upload files onto that server. So if we look back at the help, we can see the -b, which is over here, basic auth, and you just provided a username and password and just separated with the colon. So we'll call back that previous command, just adding -b. In this case, the user that I'll set is villaroot, and then the password is villaroot just with zeros instead of O's. And we'll have that running. Alright, so now if I try going to that site again, I'll be prompted with the username and password. If I just put whatever or the wrong credentials, it'll ask me it again, so I'll have to put the correct ones. And once I click sign in, and then I can continue on with uploading or downloading files. So this is another protection that you can add onto the server, which I would recommend, since again you will be dealing with client information, which you definitely do not want to mishandle. So I just wanted to share this with everybody because I was looking for a way to upload files over HTTPS, but I needed to attach a domain name because I didn't want to use IP addresses in the real environment because I might start causing alerts. And so I found this Gosh tool and it was very useful, so I just wanted to share it. But thanks for watching.